Hello guys, welcome back to our channel Planet for Tech. I hope you all are doing great and learning lots by watching all the episodes of our series PHP Beginners to Master. So this series is basically created for those people who are who are preparing for PHP and they are looking career in the PHP development itself. And this is good for the professionals as well because somehow we are covering those concepts which were not that much important while we were learning the PHP in a beginning. So this by going through all the videos you will be able to understand these are the lots of concepts which we skip in our day-to-day programming language, but these are very important. And when you will implement these concepts in your programming language, so definitely you will reach to the next level of the programmers. So there you can recognize yourself you are having some different level of confidence in the programming. So those things will come if you are watching this our complete series and complete episodes from beginning to last. So in this episode of 18th episodes, so till now we have completed 17th episode of this series, and today in the 18th episodes I'm going to describe you some new concepts of PHP. So that is nothing but you can say function concepts in the PHP. So in our 7th episode we have already covered what are the functions used in the PHP, and what are the different type of function function with the value, function with return, function with no value, no return. So these all we have already discussed, how to create the function, how to call the function. So that we already covered in the 7th episode of this series. So one who have not watched that video, so uh, before watching this video, you should watch that 7th episode as well, because that will give you the brief idea about what the function is and how this works in a PHP, how we can create. So those all things you will understand from there. So this is the continuing session of that function. You can say if you so here we are going to learn some new concepts of PHP. So those concepts are nothing but you can say these are these four basic concepts we are going to understand in this episode. So you can see the first concept is call by value and call by reference. So what this is and how we are going to use it. So and the second one is the default argument function, the function we can pass the arguments or we can make those arguments as default as well. So that we will look here. And the next one is variable argument function, like how we can pass the fixed number of arguments and how we can pass the variable number of arguments. So if the function is there and it is taking every time two arguments, so it is the limitation of that function, because it is not able to work more than two arguments. So for that time we need such kind of function which can take the variable number of arguments. That will we will cover here in this session, variable argument function. And the next one is the recursive function. So what is this recursive, why it is called as recursive? So this is a special term. You can say recursive means there is something which is going to repeat itself after certain statement, after certain time. So that term is called as recursive here. So we will look in a brief way. So let's start by your coding practical. So firstly, we are going to cover the call by value and call by reference. So we will just look what the definition is and why it is called as call by value and call by reference. So let's start. Let me start my VS Code. So guys, you can see VS Code is started. Let me give you the example of call by value, call by value. So why it is called as call by value, that we will look here. Let me create one function here. This is the function, like you can say calculate. This function we have created here, and this function is going to take one argument, that is a number. You can say we will pass a number in this function, and this function you can say you can keep it calculate. Calculate is okay, fine. So let here I'm going to increment it by 1 plus 1 this way, or I'm going to add uh, one value only, that is sufficient. Now here, if the number, if we are going to define another same variable number equals to 10. And if I am going to call this function here, sorry, calculate, and I'm passing this number, and after this I am going to print it echo number. So guys, you can guess like what will be the output here. So what it is doing here, you can understand here. So this is the function we have created, and this function is taking one argument and incrementing the value of this variable. So here we have in the line number 8 we have defined defined like a number variable equals to 10. So we are passing 10 here. So it is going there in the inside the function, and after that it is getting incremented by 1. So here the value of number will become uh, 10 plus 1, that is 11. So here you have to understand that this variable is coming from outside the function. So this is the function scope and this is the variable. You can keep it there as well. Here also you can keep it, no matter, but it should be outside the method. It's outside the function. So here you can see this function is initialized here, but it is getting modified inside the function. It modified inside the function. Inside the function, we are modifying the value of number. But when we are moving outside this function and we are calling here in the line number 9, so the modification, whatever we have done inside the function, is not going to affect the original value of variable. It means instead of printing 11, so if we are printing this number inside this function, so it will give you 11. But if we are printing the same number outside the function, so definitely it will not give you the 11 because the functions modified the value inside the function only. So when you are coming outside the function, so it will give you the original value of number, that is 10. Let me show you here. So let me give you for better clarity outside function. Let me give this comment so that you can understand in a better way. And I'm printing same thing inside the function as well. And let me give here br for new line, and this is inside function. So inside function the value will be 11, but when we are going outside, so that modification will not applied, and it will show the original number, that is nothing but 10. So this is the point you have to understand here. We are passing the, you can see here inside function it is showing 11, but outside it is showing 10. It means here we have passed the value, here we have passed the value of the variable, and this value is getting modified inside the function and being used here in this line number 7, but it is not modifying the address, or it is not modifying the original variable. So that is why when we are coming to the line number 12, it is just taking the previous value 10 rather than taking the modified value, because we have modified inside the function. So it is not going to change the complete scope of that variable. So it is just doing changes locally. So uh, it will be modified inside the function only, but outside the function you will not be able to see the updated value. So this is what the call by value. So here we have called the function, but we have passed the value of variable instead of passing their reference, instead of passing their address. So we have passed the value of variable. That is why the modification is applied inside the function only, but outside the function modification not applied. So this is call by value. Now let me take example of call by reference. So in call by reference, what we need to do in call by reference, let me make it. In call by reference, we need to pass the same variable, but we need to pass it with the address. Like here we have passed the value, but now we want to pass the address of this variable. Address means reference where in the RAM memory it is going to be stored. So that we are going to pass here. So for that, what you need to pass, you can see here, we need to pass the ampersand operator here. So this ampersand operator is going to pass the reference of this variable. So this is the example of call by reference, and here we are going to take that variable inside the as a address, so we need to use ampersand as well. So this way you can call it. Let me show you by running this in the browser. So here you have to understand, like while calling this variable, you have to pass only the variable, not the address, but it will work on the address of this variable. So here in the formal argument, this is the formal argument and this is the actual argument. So formal argument, you have to use the ampersand operator. So this ampersand operator will take the address of this variable and do the modification on the same address. So if we are modifying something on their address, so definitely the modification will be permanent. So in the call by value, the modification was temporary, but in the call by reference, the modification will be permanent. So here modification will be permanent. You can see, because we are changing the reference here itself. Now let me show you. Now you can see here, inside the function it is showing 11 and outside the function it is showing 11. So this is the difference between the call by value and the call by reference. So in the call by reference, whatever modification is being done inside the method is going to be considered as permanent, but in call by value it is temporary and it remains inside the method only. So this is the difference between the call by value and call by reference. This is the first difference, and the another difference is what, in call by reference, we need to use the ampersand operator just before to the uh, formal argument in the function. So these are the two difference you can say here. So you can let me mention here so that you guys can make note of it. So in call by value, let me make it CBV. In call by value, uh, changes are, so let me make it with in call by value, changes are temporary, and but in a call by reference, whatever changes we are doing, changes are permanent. So this is the one difference. Another difference you can say, uh, call by reference, ampersand is used before the formal arguments in function. So these are the only two difference. So this is what the call by value and call by reference. Now next is the default argument function. So what this default argument function? So guys, you can see here, let me give you another example here. So what is the call by default? Can say, let me give you default arguments. Default argument function. So let's suppose we have one function that is calculating the sum of two number, that is, you can say, nothing but $a and $b. So this way it is doing the summation of these two value. So let me make it $c equals to $a plus $b. So we can make it, and here I am returning it, return $c. So this function is the of type with argument with return. So it is taking the argument and it is returning the value. So you can see here, whenever we will call this function, we need to pass two argument. So let me make it echo result is. So here I'm going to call it the function. So I need to pass two value 12 and 13. So I'm passing here 12 and 13, you can see. Now let me show you in the browser. So it is showing a result as 25. So here let's suppose if I'm passing the single value, so what it does, if I'm passing single value, let me comment it first. And if I'm passing the single value, so what it does, ideally it should give error. You can see here it is showing an error like fatal error, uncount argument count error, means it is mandatory to pass the two arguments every time. If you miss to pass the single argument, so it will not work there. So to avoid this situation, what we can do it, so we can make at least one variable here as a default. We can make it 13 like this. So this if we are making this 13, so if we are passing the first value, so this will be the value of A only, and the value of B will become 13 because here we are passing the first value. So first value is going to be copied inside the $A, and the second value we are not passing, so $B will be the 13 itself. So you can see 25. If we are passing as like this, so it will be 133. So if we are passing two value as well, so how it behaves, so let me pass it one. So if we are passing the two values, so it will take that the value what we are passing. So the value which is defined here with the argument itself is being taken by the function when its value is not coming from the calling statement. So this is the calling statement. So this is calling statement. So in the calling statement, we are passing b as 3. So it is taking that b value as 3. But here we are passing $A equals to 120, but we are not passing b, the value of b, so it will take the default value of b. So the default value of b is nothing but what, this is the 13. $B equals to 13. So this default value, default argument, so here is $B. So here you can see $B is considered as the default argument. It means if we are not passing the value, so it will take its default value. So this is the concept of default argument function in PHP. Now let's see the another concept of function, that is the variable number of arguments. So this is a bit similar to this. So in this situation you can see guys, let's suppose we have only two arguments like this. So I'm going to describe you another concept, that is variable arguments in function. So you can see here like this function is every time taking only two value, means it is going to take only two value and it will give us the result. What about if we want to pass three values, so that time it will work or not? So that is the point we have to check here. So let's suppose we have three value like 12, 13 and 15. So these three value we want to sum it here. So there are two approaches. Either we should call this function two times or we should call it one time. So let me show you by the first approach. So in the first approach, I'm going to call the same function two times. So how we can do it? So firstly, I will take the value result like this, and we'll call this function with the two argument 12 and 13. So it will give the result of 12 plus 13, that is 25. And in this result itself, I'm going to call the same method again, sum. So here I will pass the result and the third value is what, 15. So this time we will get the result is what, 12 plus 13 plus 15. So it will give us the value as 40. So let me print it here. So here let me print it echo. Now you can see it will work. Means the same function is able to add three numbers as well. But the difference is what we have done the extra line of coding here. So this is the case with the three numbers. If you have the 100 number, then how you can handle this situation? We are not going to call it multiple times that way, so that will be very difficult for us to manage it. So to give the more power to this function, we can implement the concept of variable arguments in the function. Now let's see what is this variable arguments in function. So guys, PHP supports uh, ellipsis operator. So this is nothing but three dots, you can see. So we need to use this three dots operator here to have the multiple arguments. So it will be able to take the argument from 0 to n, means we can pass 0 argument and we can pass n number of arguments whatever we want. So let me show you how it works. So here you can see the single variable I am declaring, but before this before the variable of this variable I have used it ellipsis operator three times dot that I have used. It means whatever we are going to send is going to treat as an array. It is going to be treated as an array, and to iterate the array we need some looping statement. You can use for each and for loop as well, but here for simplicity I am going to use the for each loop. So as I have told you what we are supposed to pass n number of arguments. We are not sure like how many arguments we can pass. So we whatever we will pass, that is going to be treated as an array, and to iterate the array we need to use the loop here. So I am going to make it loop $a as uh, item, you can say, or you can say number. And as we want to sum it, so let me make one initialize one variable sum equals to 0. So before running this loop, the value of sum is 0. Let me return it. And let's suppose if I am not passing anything here, simply calling this sum. Here you can see I'm not passing any value. So what it will result, what it will return. So it will call this function, and it will check like this array is empty because we have not passed any value here. So this loop will not work, and it will give us the output as sum as equal to 0. So let me show you. So it is printing as 0. But what if we are passing 12? 2, sorry, let me pass very small number, 2 3 4, you can see. So here we are passing 4 number, and again it is showing the value, sorry, it is showing the value of 0. uh, okay, we have missed here something. So let me make it complete. Sum plus equals to dollar number. So this is the shorthand operator. We have already discussed this in our operator episode. So here you can see this is going to be treated as an array dollar a equals to like this 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4. So this way it is, this PHP is going to treat this arguments here, because we have used variable number of arguments with the ellipsis operator here. So it will add this loop will run 4 times, and it will every time it will add the number with the sum variable with the previous value of sum. So first time the very previous value of sum is 0. When the loop will execute, so it will add 1 with this sum, so it will become 1. Then after 1 plus, so first time what it will give you, it will be 0 plus 1, so it will become what, 1. And 1 plus 2 equals to 3, and 3 plus 4 equals to 7. So ideally it should give you the result as 7. Not sorry, it is wrong. 1 plus 2 is 3, 3 plus 4. It is first time taking the 0, and it becomes 1, and we are going to add 2, 1 plus 2, 3. Then we are going to add 3 as well. So 3 plus 3 equals to 6, plus 4 equals to 10. So it should give you result as 10. So you can see here it is printing like that. So this is that solution for the previous problem. In the previous example, what we are doing, we are calling the same method multiple times because we had n number of, we have more than two arguments. So we are calling that method two times. So here you can see, doesn't matter how many numbers, how many arguments you have, you can call it only one time, and this function is going to take all those arguments as a single array, and it will process it and it will give you the result. So this is the important concept, that is the variable arguments in function, and this is very often very frequently asked in the interview as well. So guys, you have to make it note, and this is a very important concept, and you have to practice lot, but then only you will be able to memorize this concept on the spot, like whenever you need, so you have to apply this. So this is the variable concept in a function, variable arguments in the function. So this way, after knowing this much information, we are able to give more power, more strength to the our function, so our function can work lot here. So this function can take n number of arguments, whatever you are passing. Like this, if I am passing, I'm not taking care like how many arguments I can pass. I can pass n number of arguments, whatever I want. So guys, you can see there is no restriction, there is no limitation like how many number of arguments we have to pass. So really this is very amazing concept of this PHP variable arguments in a function. So we can pass 0 to n minus 0 to n number of arguments with this operator. So the name of this operator you have to remember, that is the ellipsis. So this operator is called as ellipsis. Now let me describe you the next concept of function that is in PHP, that is the recursive function. Recursive function means we have to operate something in a repeated manner. So we have to repeat the same statement after particular time or after particular statement execution. So that is called as the recursion. So what is the recursion? Let me show you in a short way. Uh, it is the concept in which same function get called by self after some time or some line of execution. So this is the definition of this recursive function here. So let me show you in practical how it works. So let me give you the example of factorial calculation. So guys, let me show you like how we calculate the factorial first, so that only will be able to understand what the need of this recursive function. So let's suppose I have to calculate the factorial of 5. So how we calculate the factorial of 5? So factorial of 5 is nothing but this factorial look like this. The factorial of 5 is nothing but 5 multiply factorial of 4. So this is the first step. Then after what it does, then it 5 multiply 4 multiply factorial of 3. Then after it becomes 5 multiply 4 multiply 3 multiply factorial of 2. Then after it becomes 5 multiply 4 multiply 3 multiply 2 multiply and factorial of 1. So this way it works. So finally it gives us the value of 5 multiply 4 multiply 3 multiply 2 multiply 1. So this way, you guys, you can see every time it is just going to multiply the next number, which is n minus 1 from the given number. So if we are taking this 5 as n factorial, so the next calculation is nothing but n multiply, you can see here, n minus 1. So every time this particular statement is being executed here, so As its definition suggests, if we are going to repeat the same concept, same line of function, same line of steps every time after certain steps or every after fixed time, so that is called as the recursive. So let me show here by making it function calculate fact. Let me make it very small. So here we are going to pass a number that is n, and we know like every time it is executing this formula, so this will be uh, dollar n equals to dollar n multiply dollar n minus 1. So this way it works, and after this again we have to calculate this function. We have to call this function here. So let me show you, and here we have to check if till what time this will work. So dollar and becomes 1. If dollar becomes 1, or you can say dollar is greater than or equal to 1, so it will work. Otherwise it will give us else. Else it will return. Else is not a needed, you can say. So simply you can pass here like return n. So you can say, let me call it echo calculate fact. The last one is the calculate fact, and let me pass the value 5 here. So let me show you how it works here. Oh, it's giving error. Xdebug has detected a possible in oh, this is the infinite loop because it is not going to be decrease. So let me check like why this is happening. Oh, we have done one mistake here, guys. Instead of making it this way, I think we are doing some mistake. Let me see what mistake we are doing. Oh, here we are doing the mistake. So we can make it like this in this way. Instead of making this way, we can make it very simple. If and firstly we have to check this is the value 0 or not. If n is equal to 0, then we have to return minus 1. It's you can say not minus 1, it is the wrong value if you want, you can say. Otherwise, if if it is less than 0, not less than 0, so we have to give this value. If it is else, if we can check dollar n is greater than or equals to 0, it is equals to 0, so we have to return 1, else we have to calculate the factorial. So here we can return dollar n multiply the same function, again we have to call it, so this way we can make it and minus 1. So guys, this way it should work. Let me show you, is it working or not. So you can see here it is showing the 120, the factorial. If we are passing 0, so it should give us the 1. If we are passing here as minus 1 negative value, so it should give us the negative value as well. Or whatever negative value we are passing, it will always give us the 1. Sorry, minus 1. That is the wrong value. So we cannot calculate the factorial of the negative value. That is why it is giving you the minus 1 for every time. So this way, guys, if you want to make a note, so you can take a screenshot. I'm making it idle for you for 1 second, for a few seconds. I hope you all have taken the screenshot and understood this concept very well, like what factorial calculation we do and why this recursion is. So guys, you can see here, this we are calling this function only one time, so it get calls one time, and the function itself is calling here. So you can see the same function is being called inside the function, means the second time we are not going to call it. So this is the line, we call it a recursive call. So this is the function call. We are calling it one time, and here it is getting called recursively. So it will get called automatically. So this is the recursive call example of factorial. So this way, guys, this much concepts we have to memorize. We have to keep remember, like while we're doing the programming, we can implement these concepts to give more power to our functions. So in these videos, this much only, guys, and I hope you all are learning lots and enjoying by doing the practical as well, and gradually you are getting the enough confidence on PHP, and you are on the way to become from beginners to master. So definitely, if you are tuned with our all the episodes of this series, so definitely they will come. You will be able to say like you becomes the master. Really, you becomes the master, and this is all about your concentration, what you are continuously watching these our video episodes. So keep this in your daily routine, and keep in touch, and be tuned and do lots of practical, and if possible, guys, if you have any query, or you want to ask or you want to ask me like to make a tutorial for other technology as well, so I am able to do that. But just you need to ask in the comment itself. So I am alone here, so I can I can make more video, and I will get lots of confidence after looking your comments in the comment section. So if you guys are new in this channel, so don't forget to subscribe and press the bell icon to get the latest notification of our coming videos. So in the next episode of this series, we are going to understand few new concepts of PHP. So till that, guys, do chill and enjoy learning PHP. Thank you lot.